I love you. Welcome back to the Couch Potatoes. I am the Green Traveler from Gorge.
And I am the Faceless Leon, the stretchiest experiment on Earth. Welcome to Green and Faceless on the Couch, a podcast about movies and TV. Excuse me.
Ew.
Yeah. I said excuse me, we were going to cut that out.
Nope, keeping it in.
Well,
there's some people who like that grossness.
Well, I bet if they watched these movies, they do. There's a little bit of grossness in them. Not like heavy. It's pretty softcore grossness.
No. Yeah.
But
you gotta appeal
still,
to the fetishists. That's
right.
That's how we grow.
Yes, you're right. So
next we'll have an Only Feet account.
There's no. You can do whatever
you want to show off
want
your beautiful feet
in your own time, Greenie.
I'm pretty sure I can sell some good feet pics. I got some cute feet.
They're all right. You know, I've seen them in a few pics. You've snuck them in there.
I've snuck them in there. I like seeing my feet. I think other people might as well. Let me know in the comments if you want to see some feet pics from the Green Traveler.
They're human body feet. Let them know.
And then, so if you're serious, head over to the patreon.com/greenandfaceless and let me know just how serious you really are about wanting to see them feet pics by signing up for one of our tiers there.
That better be the $35
All right, I'm done with
tier.
the feet pics. We can move on.
Okay. So, all right. So, Nicholas Holt is our focus for today in the actor spotlight. So, he is very talented, and he is, he's been up and coming for some time, but he has also just been more so of late. So,
he's been booming.
He has been booming. He was, we've talked about him several times without ever, I think, watching a movie that he was actually in for the show. But he is in the X-Men prequel movies. He is,
indeed.
He is in The Great. Actually, I did talk about The Great at some point on this show.
Yeah, you did talk about that. Yeah, and I feel like we've also talked Mad Max Fury. I mean, we haven't talked it on the show, but I feel like we've talked about Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, he plays
a
lot of
my favorite character in that. Witness me,
and he is
notice me.
He is English. I just
that's right. Yeah, he is. Sure.
Yeah. And so he gets to. I don't know if R has an English accent or not because they have a hard time speaking. But
yeah, they have a zombie accent.
Yeah, that's right. In these two movies, this could also very easily be a genre smackdown, maybe.
Yeah, I mean it works pretty well. It's
they're
like
comedies,
kind of a monster smackdown,
right? Like they're horror. I don't know if horror comedy really applies to Warm Bodies, but it is, I guess. Because
I think it does.
Yeah, they're using horror stuff. And, horrifying things do happen. Her boyfriend does get torn apart by zombies. Forgot about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would actually make it more romance too, which is very weird.
Yes.
It's more like a comedy romance, but not a rom-com.
Well, I got things to say about that when we get into the synopsis, and I suppose we get there. But we are comparing Nicholas Holt's performance in Warm Bodies to his performance in this year's release, Renfield. And
how much fun
it is. There,
did you ever watch Warm Bodies before this?
No, this is my first time. When I saw it, I was like, in the theater, like when I saw the preview. I don't know if you were with me, but I recall having the sentiment that I don't really want a zombie romance. It seems like
Well, I was put off by it because we had an old roommate who would always tell, he's like, if I was ever to make a movie, I would make a movie where it's like, it's a romance, and everything feels like it's going to be a romance. It's marketed as a romance, but then like within the first 5 minutes, they like find each other on a bridge, and then there's an atomic bomb, and it turns into a zombie apocalyptic horror film or whatever. And I was like, it sounds funny, but like at the same time, we really hated this roommate. So whenever he would tell the story, I would just like hate the idea more and more. And so I do, when you had mentioned Warm Bodies, I didn't even remember at all that this movie had ever been made. But I looked at, when I looked it up, I was like, oh, right, this is the zombie romance film that I completely avoided because it reminded me of The Roommate.
Yeah.
I had no idea Nicholas Holt was even in it. I don't even know if I knew him at the time. I mean, except for as Beast,
yes,
Hank McCoy.
So but, if I'm gonna jump into the synopsis for us, R is Nicholas Holt's character. He is. Do you want me to jump, or is that why you're holding out your hand?
Nope, sorry, I'm messing with my phone.
It felt like you wanted me to jump into your hand, and that would have been something.
No. Discord was messing up, so I was trying to fix it. And since I'm tilted sideways, I was on the phone.
Okay. Well, anyways, R is a zombie. So, yes. He's, he has this routine of haunting this airport with a bunch of other zombies. And every once in a while, they group up and go into town and kill some people because, they need to eat. He
always meets his best friend too at the mall.
Right.
No, it was at the airport. At the airport, like waiting area, somewhere in there.
Yeah, there's a bar at the airport.
A bar, right?
Yeah. And they go there and pretend to order drinks, these people that are zombies in their day-to-day, they're trying to go through what they remember about life. And it's difficult. Like, they don't have anything to remember. They don't really have any real motor skills besides walking and eating and going, ah. And then sometimes they make words out. And right when Nicholas Holt describes that, he says hungry to M, who's played by Rob Corddry. And they gather up some zombies and they go into the city. And that's where they meet Julie, played by Teresa Palmer, and Dave Franco, who's playing Perry. And so Perry gets killed and R eats his brain. Immediately. Yeah, immediately. It's like, it Dave was so Franco. Funny. That's great.
Again, like, not having watched this movie before, it was really funny because I was just like, oh, Dave Franco. Yeah, he'll be a main character because I know who Dave Franco is. And then he immediately gets killed. Like, he has one line and then he gets killed. And I was just like, oh, fuck.
He shows up a couple times in flashbacks. Yeah. But anyhow.
Yeah, that's how they utilized him, and it made sense then. But like at the time, I was just like, oh, I guess this must have been before he was that famous.
Yeah, it cracked me up too. But like, I knew it was a romance, so I was a little weirded out that there was this boyfriend character. Anyways, like, she's gonna leave her boyfriend for a zombie. Like, what the fuck?
Yep. I got words to say on that when we start complaining later.
So, anyhow, Perry's dead, but R eats his brains, and brains are like the closest thing to like getting high that he's come across. I don't know if he was a stoner in life before, but that's kind of how he described it. And it gives him like a floods of Perry's memories. So he like gets to know Julie in the instant before she's going to get killed by zombies. And so he helps her escape and brings her back to the airport, to the plane that he uses as an apartment. And he plays her some music. And then she's like, oh, fuck. He's, not just trying to eat me. He's actually doing small human things. Yeah,
he seems so less zombie than ever before, and he can speak a few words, which is very intriguing to her.
Yes, it is. And so she starts. Well, she's really fucking scared at first, and she tries to escape a couple of times, only to be confronted by the other zombies at the airport. And anyhow, he always is there to help her, and eventually Em and the rest of the zombies are like, hey, something's happening to us. Like, let's let her go and let them know that we're changing and that maybe this is going to be okay after all. Yeah.
It's a really good plot.
Yeah,
and it's
actually,
the overarching bad guys are the I think they call them the skins.
I think like skeletons. They called them corpse and skeletons, I think. Maybe bonies.
Yeah, and
they might be called bonies.
Maybe bonies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like zombies who have completely given up and just torn off their skin basically and have just like given into this this kind of life.
Yes, this undead disease.
They don't have the reawakening that these normal zombies are having.
Yes, that's right. Enter Grigio, played by John Malkovich. Now, Grigio is Julie's father, and he's also like the dictator of this habitat or something. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, he was a survivalist beforehand, and he'd been like, preparing for an apocalypse. He's one of those, like, we call them whack jobs, but in all apocalypse films, they're the geniuses.
They're the ones who, prepared for this shit. So, to an extent, I do respect the mentality of being ready. But if you're, like, so fucking scared that you're living your life waiting for it to happen, that's fucked. Like, if you have a bunker and it's stashed with some, non-perishables, I respect that. I get it.
Yeah, I can wholeheartedly respect that.
Yeah.
Plus, it doubles as a fun little den.
That's right. You can play D&D
that's
in
awesome.
there.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Grigio is, like, really hell-bent against the corpses because one of them ate his wife, right?
Yeah.
Julie knows that she's going to have a hard sell to let him know that the zombies are changing. The problem is that R followed her there because he's in love with her.
Yeah.
And then
and snuck into the human society.
He snuck into the human society. And we'll say that's where we'll leave off the synopsis. Action ensues, and you could probably guess what happens from there.
With the last 10 minutes up to you to watch.
Right. Sorry. So
you're all right.
I mean,
it's a real quick movie. It's only like an hour and a half.
It really is. Like, both of them are pretty quick, actually.
That is true.
I will say that I started the synopsis at minute 5, and it hasn't even been 10 minutes yet. So thank you. So R is there off the bottom of the balcony, right? And all of a sudden it flashed to me like, oh, they're doing the Romeo and Juliet balcony thing. And I was like, his name is R.
It took me a while to get that too.
And her name is Julie. These fucks.
Yep, yeah.
And then I realized...
It took me a long time to get that, too.
Then I realized that the person in the next room, Julie's friend, who I don't even know what her name was, but she just in the previous scene... Nora, played by Leo Tipton. And she is training to be a nurse, and said so in the previous scene. So she's the fucking nurse character.
That's right.
And then I was like... Well, fuck. I think that makes Rob Corddry Friar Lawrence. So there you go.
Well,
you got Lord Capulet.
I guess maybe, but like also, doesn't he have a friend whose name starts with an M?
Yes, Mercutio. He does, but I don't feel like he represents Mercutio very well. I feel like Perry obviously represents Paris, but he could also represent Tybalt and some other characters, and
right.
Yeah, M could also represent. I just feel like Benvolio, everything else has been so on the
Benvolio news. That's character. That's fair.
I feel like Perry almost fits Mercutio better because Mercutio's death really sets off that last act, and so Perry's death really kicks off this relationship between Julie and R. Yeah,
so kicks off the whole movie.
But anyways, so it's not a direct. It happens. It's not a direct adaptation, which I think it'd be pretty hard to make a zombie movie a direct adaptation. But still, It was like I don't know. They didn't really try to hide it. I wish they hid it a little bit better.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's all. And it
took me. I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, it took me a long time to catch it.
But they might as well have called him Nomeo. You know what I mean? Well,
that would have been stupid.
We'll have to sequel smash those sometimes because yes, it did get a sequel. I'm talking about Romeo and Juliet. God. If that didn't make sense to the audience. So anyhow,
man, I really don't want to do that. Someday. That'd be hard.
Patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Go there and suggest that so that we can vote upon it for the potato pick and make the Green Traveler from Gorsh watch Romeo and Juliet. Okay, so
that'd be very rude of you.
It would be awesome. We'd love your support. So here we are back at this show that was very vaguely veiled as Romeo and Juliet. Yes. That's all I wanted to say was my revelation about it. I guess I really don't know what else to say. We should maybe talk about Nicholas's performance, but you go ahead first.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's a really funny story. I do think the story is fine. It's really funny. Obviously, being Romeo and Juliet is why most of the story works. But it's not as captivating. Sorry. I think there's one more. Nope. It's not as captivating as I thought it would be given the premise. And part of that is because throughout the entire movie, all I could think about was this dude ate your boyfriend.
Yeah.
And
and when she found out, she was like, I kind of guessed that.
Yeah, that was it was so weird and off-putting. I felt so fucking bad for Perry every time we kept going back to the flashbacks, and he would learn more about her through how Perry dealt with her and everything. And it's just the whole time I'm just that poor fucking man.
I know, but
all he is the memory of the dude who's now with his girlfriend.
Yeah. But you can also see that R does struggle with it, especially as more and more memories are available to him. But at first, he keeps on sneaking back and eating more of Perry's brain.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Oh, it's so funny. So
and Julie, literally, once she finds out, she's yeah, I kind of guessed that. Yeah. And then she leaves. Yeah. That's when she goes back to her society.
Yeah.
But she also doesn't leave angry. She's just kind of well, fuck. I can't deal with the mental fuckery that all of this is. But then the fact that that's still the relationship at the end, it's just it really just leaves a very weird taste in my mouth. I don't know. I love a good romance, and I thought this was very funny and everything, but for the most part, I was just I don't know if I'm behind this romance. This is so fucking weird to me.
That she's falling in love with this decaying person. And I know that's somebody's fetish out there, and this is your fantasy, and this is a movie for you, and that is fine. But it's still hard for me to get behind.
I don't mind the cross zombie human relationship. Okay, that's fine. It's just the fact that he ate her boyfriend that really bothers me. I can't. It's kind of the
baggage. Yeah.
It's I honestly feel like it's worse than a person who cheats on their like significant other.
Well,
because it's just like
I ate your current boyfriend
this is like
so that we can get together.
I ate your significant other. Let's date. It's fucking weird, man. But let's talk about Nicholas Holt before we close.
Yes.
I really liked him. I thought he did a fucking great job.
I mean,
he's zombied out throughout almost the whole movie.
Yeah.
During the few scenes where he's not zombied out, where it's like you get a dreamlike glance at to what he looked like as a human. It's complete different,
right? Like
character,
yeah.
But at the same time, still the same, like still same personality and everything. But
as a zombie,
the makeup job's great. Yeah, and he pulled it off really well too. Like when he's walking about, when he's teaching her how to be a zombie to get her past zombie hordes. It's fucking good acting. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was so funny.
Because half the time, he's basically a mute character. He gets a word out every once in a while, and then he gets full sentences later in the film. I mean...
And in narration.
And in narration, yes. He does narrate the whole movie. That's interesting, too. It's like, it's showing that he's conscious. He just has no real control over his body. I think that's really cool. It's
very fascinating and at the same time very scary. It's almost like sleep paralysis, or I guess similar to what Bruce Willis is about, going through,
aphasia.
Which is,
yeah.
It's very kind of similar to that, where it's just like it's a trapping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary.
Very sad to think about.
It is sad, but it's also, I mean, now that you mention it, I can't think of what I was going to say about it because it is kind of just sad and scary. But
it is sad and scary. Yeah. I think they utilize the comedy aspect of it very well though throughout this whole movie.
Yes,
and that's what I'm all about. Is like
the timing
there's going to be sad things in the world.
And what's going on in this scene is pretty fucking great. Yes.
And like in his interactions with M, where it's just like in his head, his subconscious, the narration is just like, man, this is my best friend. I'd really love to be able to talk to him. Mm-hmm. And then M will say something that's just like, food. And then like R will just be like, okay. And then just like leave him. Just like gets up and walks away. And then M is just left there at the table just being like, oh. We were so close to a connection. Like you can almost think about what M is saying in his head, where he's just like, "Dang it, we almost held hands or something."
The little bit they give M right at the end of the movie makes the whole fucking movie worth it. I really liked that part. Yeah, that was cool.
I did. I liked it a lot.
There was some parallels to real world. Situations like are really just our shunning of mentally ill people. I feel like was really being mirrored in that last scene, and it was very touching actually.
There's a lot of actual good messages throughout this whole film. Like I did enjoy what I got. I was also at the same time a little kind of bored at many moments. Like a lot of the plot takes a long time to kick to the next level because it's it's a romance. It's like it's a romance that has a huge hurdle to jump over right off the bat.
Pretty fucking big hurdle. 20 foot tall.
It's a huge fucking hurdle. Yeah, but I still do enjoy it. I still do recommend it. I will say I give it 3 stars.
That's pretty good.
It was fun.
Yeah, I do think it is also a fun movie. I'd probably watch it again if somebody said they really wanted to watch it, but it's not going to be my favorite movie. It is a full face, though. A very competent and fun movie. Not really much problems with it. It's just not my favorite film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
There is
someday
one
we're
more
gonna
thing.
Have to get you like a little stamp.
Yeah.
So that when you say it, it's a full-face film.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I could find a sound effect and do that. Maybe we will. So, here we are at the end of this review. I do want to tell you this is based off of a book. The novel was written by Isaac Marion, and the film, it was written and directed by Jonathan Levine. And
yes, who I did not recognize much of his filmography when I looked it over.
I don't know either. But my friend, I mentioned Warm Bodies to a friend at work, and they were like, "Oh, I haven't watched the movie, but I read the book, and it's pretty freaking bonkers." And I was like, "Oh yeah," and she said, "But one thing that they did not put in the movie that I know for sure they didn't put in the movie is the bonkers zombie religion. It's worth reading the book just for that." So apparently, the zombies have their own religion. So yeah, so check out the book if you're interested in that. The movie is fun. I do say go check it out.
I am interested in that. That sounds exciting. All right, let's quickly take a soda pop break before we come back and suck your blood with Renfield.
We went from brains to blood. All right.
Brains to blood.
Brains to Blood would be a good zombie vampire crossover movie.
Oh, fuck yeah.
All right.
The zombie apocalypse happens, and the humanity evolves into vampires as the only way to counteract it. I love you.
And I coughed and accidentally spit on the back of Sarah's head. And that's,
you sick fuck.
That's why I was like, I'm so sorry. But yeah, actually, I'm sorry that you don't like Awkwafina.
You know what? Yeah, it's nothing against her. I think, people love her, and she's, probably got a good fan base, but, like, I don't know. It's just her comedy just, like, is not my style of comedy. That's really what it is. Like, I liked her than a lot of other The Last Dragon.
Comedians. Yeah, she was great. She's got a unique voice. Like, she's definitely a great.
I like her as a voice actor.
I think she's got a good screen presence, though, too.
Yeah, her acting is good, too. I won't say that she's a bad actor. I actually liked her in, what was that Marvel movie? What's it called again? The Ten Rings? Shang-Chi, thank you. And the Ten Rings, or Legend of the Ten Rings, or whatever, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But, I liked her in that, too. It's just in this, there were so many things that I had problems with in Renfield. Before I dive into the synopsis, since I don't know why I chose this as my way of bringing in Renfield.
I guess we're back.
But, we've been back. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, in this movie, Awkwafina plays Rebecca, an aggressive traffic cop working for the NOPD, so says Wikipedia. And so, she's a cop. Yeah. She has a vendetta, which is the textbook, I'm cleaning out the cops of all the corrupt cops. Yeah. It's age old. It's always used in everything that ever features a cop. I mean, and that's the sad thing. It's like, I say it like it's not a real thing. And it really is. There's a lot of corruption in the police force. I understand that. It's just a boring, tread upon story element always used. And that's what she's doing is her father was murdered in the force, and she wants to bring vengeance for her father's death, as well as clean out the corrupt cops out of the police industry. And things about her that bothered me, I'm not even talking about Renfield yet, which is really hilarious to me. I didn't mean to do this. But, like, this is what I remember. I watched this movie about a month ago when it came out in theaters, and what I remember is she would walk into buildings to clear it. Yeah. And normally when you see in a movie how cops would clear it is with the gun ready and alert, so that if they are confronted by another weapon, they could, they don't just basically be unarmed and unafraid. Yeah. They're not at risk. or they're at risk, but they're not at so much risk.
Right.
She walks into buildings to clear them with the gun relaxed really far down, her body not tense whatsoever. And she's just kind of looking around with that, she has this like kind of a smirk on her face almost at all times. And she's just doing that, and I'm just like, oh my God, it's just, she's a weird cop. It felt very weird, like a very weird choice.
Honestly, I
the
feel
movie doesn't
like
focus on her.
Awkwafina always seems like she had just smoked a little bit. And so yeah, it does make for a weird cop a bit. But
allegedly.
I like Rebecca though. I just don't know that the whole Vendetta cop story was super necessary for the film. Yeah, I would have rather have had more things happen with Nicholas Holt and Nicolas Cage. Man, we're really getting into the critique before the synopsis here, but
well, okay, yeah. Let's talk about what the movie's actually about.
All right.
Sorry.
Good. No, it's good.
Let's. It's Awkwafina aside, it follows Renfield.
Yes.
Who is the servant? If you've ever read Dracula, he's the rat-eaten servant in the asylum for much of the book. He helps Dracula feed, basically. Yes. He brings him
dead bodies.
People. He's just like, take these, yes, eat them, drink their blood, and that's what he does in this. Renfield's played by Nicholas Holt, and I love the idea, which is that he is in a kind of a codependent relationship with Dracula. A very toxic. Yeah, very toxic. And
it's true. He is. And it's funny that they went this route with it.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious because he's actually going to
meetings,
group therapy sessions with other people who are in toxic and abusive relationships. And, it's like kind of like the AA meeting kind of stuff. Way where they all greet each other, it's like, hi, I'm Lisa or whatever, this is what's going on in my life.
Yeah, I think one of the characters eventually
I thought that was hilarious.
An AHA meeting. Assholes Anonymous.
Yeah. Nice. I love it. And I thought that was hilarious. And it's very true. You watch Nicolas Cage as Dracula.
Yes.
He said that he based it off of that
Bela Lugosi
vampire.
Yeah.
Bela Lugosi, thank you. I always forget. It's always between him and the other one.
Yeah. Boris Karloff, the guy who played Frankenstein.
Thank you. Yeah. Every single time, it's just like, I know that it's not, but it's like my brain is immediately like Boris Karloff, and it's like, no, I know it's not. Who's the other one? Bela Lugosi. Yeah. Nicolas Cage did a lot of his his makeup style, everything. He said it was kind of like an old or a long-awaited sequel to that movie, but a comedy. Yeah, and you could see it. He does a really good job as Dracula.
Nicolas Cage. If this was the Nick Cage playlist, we would be gushing on the fuck out of Dracula.
It was
good.
Beautiful.
It was so good. I don't know what else to say about it.
And Nicholas Holt as Renfield bouncing off of that was also beautiful. Good. Like they were really good chemistry. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. But sadly, as Dracula is starting to gain more power in this modern time, he got burned at the very beginning of the film really badly.
Yes, and this was like
sunlight. It's a good scene. This was
like near the turn of the century that this happened too. So.
Yeah.
Renfield's kind of been holding him off for decades. It's pretty great.
Yeah, he's doing what he can, but it's he's getting his energy back, and Renfield, who is trying to like build this normal life for himself. He's trying to get like an apartment. He's trying to just live as the humans do, as a normal person would. He's going to these self-help therapy sessions and all that kind of stuff. He ends up running across Rebecca, and he saves her life. She gets attacked by this gang. Wait, no, not a gang. Sorry, she gets attacked by this mob, mafia-like family. What's the family called?
The Lobos.
The Lobo.
Yes.
The Lobo family.
Yes.
And I love them so much.
The main character...
Tedward.
Yeah. The main one that... Yeah, Tedward is who you're just bringing up. That's the main one we come across. Go ahead. I won't interrupt you.
It's Ben Schwartz. Yeah. I did not know it was going to be Ben Schwartz. I walked into the theater thinking it was only Nick Holt and Nick Cage, and then Ben Schwartz popped up. I love this man. He is my style of comedy.
He's pretty funny.
I can listen to Ben Schwartz all fucking day. He's so funny. And he was the best thing about Sonic. I hate Sonic, but watching that movie, I haven't watched the sequel yet, but it's just like watching that movie, I'm like, at least it's Ben Schwartz's Sonic. This is really good for me. It's good shit. And he's so funny as this weird mob enforcer. He's the son of the leader of the mob.
Bella
Oh gosh, I'm not.
Yeah, I got you. I'll do my best. I love this actor. Bella Francesca Lobo is the character name, and she's the matron of the crime family. And it's played by Shohire Aghdashloo, and she is in quite a few things, but she plays one of the main characters in Expanse, which is an Amazon Prime sci-fi that is very good. Oh man, it's the political intrigue in it is super great, and she is right in the middle of it because she plays. Now I can't quite remember her title, but there is the Grand Secretary. They basically rule Earth and all its subsidiaries. But it's an elected official. And then below them is the undersecretary and the vice undersecretary. So she's the vice undersecretary. And so she's the third most powerful person in the world. And she's fucking fantastic. Yeah,
it doesn't have anything on here.
This show is kind of just to have her there. To have somebody who could be intimidating convincingly. But...
she does a good job.
She does do a good job, and if you liked her in this, then you got to check out Expanse. She is so good. She's my favorite character in it.
Nice. Yeah, I did enjoy her in this. I enjoyed Ben Schwartz more. It was so funny whenever they cut back to Ben Schwartz and he's really just blubbering on screen.
Yes,
he's so funny. It's that's the thing. Is it's when he is he is outmatched by Nick Cage. And then you got Nick Holt matching Nick Cage, but Nick Holt's not going as absurd as Nick Cage is, but he's matching him in regards to chemistry,
right?
And you just throw Ben Schwartz in there and let Ben Schwartz go, and it's it's brimming with good ideas. Yes. This whole movie is brimming with good ideas.
He is a ridiculous gangster, though.
He's so ridiculous. It almost doesn't work, but it works.
Right.
It's just he's so stupid, and it's so funny.
Once he meets Dracula, I like it a lot better.
Right. Yes. Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing, is he comes across Dracula, and Dracula realizes, oh, I could have a new Renfield.
Right.
And it's kind of this, they start building a plan. The story starts getting... not convoluted, but just too much almost.
Maybe.
It's bouncing back and forth between a lot of different ideas. And then and then at the end, it just basically becomes a showdown between Rebecca, the cop, and Renfield versus all of these almost Renfield power. I didn't even mention that Renfield has powers, but all these people at the end also have powers. But Renfield does have powers much less than Dracula.
Right.
But Dracula gives him these powers by giving him some blood.
Yeah, he gives him some of his blood. And so the way that Renfield describes it, once again through narration. Dracula...
See, it was a very good choice to have these both together.
Yeah, definitely. They're very close. I feel there's less of a romantic angle between Renfield and Rebecca, but Renfield definitely likes Rebecca. That part's pretty obvious. Yeah. And she kind of does the doe-eye thing, and the way that Aquafina does it, it's awkward, and shut the fuck up, Kyle!
Yeah, oh god. I completely forgot about that. See, that was good. I did enjoy that stuff.
Anyways, Dracula gets his power from drinking blood. Renfield gets his power from eating bugs. And I thought at first, like, different bugs gave him different powers, but they don't.
That would have been cool. Yeah, that would have been really cool. But fun. They didn't. They didn't do that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if there was a movie that focused more on Renfield and Dracula, and this paralleling it with the self-help group.
Yeah.
Like,
and you can keep the mob characters too, but you don't need another romance. Like, I like the relationship idea already.
I think you could take the mob out and keep the cop character, because Renfield is going around killing people and taking them back to Dracula. There's murder mystery going on.
Okay, that's fair. I can agree with that. That'd be fine. I just don't make the cop a romantic angle, because it's like I like the idea of,
but it made him. And
sometimes right, and sometimes another relationship can help you get out of a toxic relationship. I get that.
Yes.
But I like the idea of the self-help group helping him out of the toxic relationship more than this weird. Right. It's another, like.
I don't mind. I don't know. Like I said, it is way more downplayed than it is in Warm Bodies, anyways. But I kind of like having a little bit of a love interest for Renfield, just because he is desperate to have a life outside of Dracula, and he doesn't even know what that means. But, like, yeah, so it gives him something to aspire towards that's easy.
Right. That's fair. I didn't like this relationship as much.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair. I understand where you're coming from. But I think really
and like
it's the gangsters that were unnecessary. I think like I said, they are funny. I'm not gonna. That's like, and that's what makes it's a comedy. I do think that a lot of people are complaining about this movie, and I think it is because it wasn't billed well enough as a comedy. Like, I don't think people are going. Well, I mean,
how could it not be like that? When people are stupid.
Yeah,
like you see the one shot of Nicolas Cage in the trailer. How do you not come out thinking it's a fucking comedy? Like, just because of his one line, he's floating above the ground. He's just like, Count Dracula. It's so fucking funny. But yeah, people are just fucking dumb, and it's so funny to me, because it's just like, how do you go into this movie not expecting it to be a comedy? Like, it's just ridiculous.
It is very obviously a comedy to me, and I honestly enjoyed it. It's a rather newer movie. I don't know how much more I want to get into it, but let's talk more about Nicholas Holt's performance in the film. I think, for one thing, while he did a great job being Zombie Boy, his movement in this is excellent. Like, he does very well with the choreography. Like, the bugs give him like hyper reflexes and stuff like that. He's catching forks in the air and stabbing people and stuff. He's just very good at the movement. I enjoyed it. Whatever in it is him and not a body double.
Yeah, I agree. Like, the action scenes are also very violent. Yeah, there's a lot of good gore, and it's very fake blood. Yes. Like, it's very obviously fake gore, but like it's still good because because he gets his like these abilities, like you said. He can just like rip fucking arms off of people, and it's just like there's one scene where he's just doing that constantly, and it's hilarious.
And he throws one like a spear. I forgot about that. That was probably one of my favorite lines that Awkwafina said too. It was a bit of a monologue where she's like, how everybody has that story that it's like, oh, I've seen worse than this. This is my worse than that. This is it.
Yep. That's the thing, is she has great moments, and then like the action, like Nick Holt did a great job at with these action scenes. I did not think he would make a good action star. No offense to Nick Holt, but like he doesn't seem like the.
I actually think he's a very strange
CGI
choice
and everything in that
for the Beast. We'll get to
that. Someday we'll get there. But no, it's just like he did do a good job. His action is kind of like really goofy, and it's very in character for Renfield. Yeah. So like it was really well done. I did enjoy it. But like during the action scenes, like Awkwafina that was another thing that I was just like, why are you there? Like when the action scenes are going on, I'm just like, you are such like not a liability, but like at the same time, all she has is a gun. Yeah. And so she's just turning around just shooting people a lot, and I'm just like, they have more guns than you. How has nobody shot you while this vampire's like going crazy on people? He's not a vampire, but you know what I mean.
Though that's like, kind of one thing I wanted to talk about. But I know we're trying to talk about Nicholas Holt, and you're talking about Awkwafina.
Right.
But
I know, I'm talking way too much about Awkwafina. I'm so sorry.
One thing I did want to talk about is, I think maybe Renfield and the other familiars are vampires. But Dracula...
But they're okay with being in the sun.
Oh, that's true. But maybe they're like half
He's in the
vampire.
Sunlight, and I think he even does have a reflection still, too.
He does. He's still very much alive. But immortal. Or at least long-living.
Right. I think long-living. I feel like that would probably be what it would be. Yeah. Is like, he might die someday, but I'm not sure.
Right.
I don't remember if they even covered it in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Right. And I don't even know if they even say...
That's a very interesting one, too. If you never...
year this Renfield fell in with Dracula.
I feel like it would have been the 30s. I think they had like an old-fashioned like black and white scene in the beginning, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Sarah said that she would just love to watch Nick Cage as Dracula in a black and white Dracula movie. She said she would watch that all day.
Yeah, that would be fan-fucking-tastic if somebody did that. Like, please. He does have another movie where he plays a man who thinks he's a vampire or becoming a vampire. That's the one where you see like a lot of the weird mannerisms, the big memes of Nick Cage that it comes from that movie. I cannot remember what it's called for the life of me.
That's fine.
Hold on, I'll be able to find it in his Wikipedia.
Okay, well, another thing I wanted to say about Nick Cage before we try to get back to Nicholas Holt is that his connection to Dracula is paternal, or inherited from his father. It has to be, because that Francis Ford Coppola movie was just a very in-depth dive into the story, and very interesting. He had to be, a part of that in some way, as in just exposed to it. Though he was not very young at this point. He was probably in his 30s, actually. When did that come out?
I found the movie, though, where he thinks he's becoming a vampire. It's called Vampire's Kiss.
Oh.
So we'll add that to the Nick Cage playlist someday, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it was 1992. Holy bejesus. I did not know that movie was as old as I am. But anyways, yeah, he obviously was a grown man when his dad made this movie, but like maybe there was just this big family thing where they fucking loved Dracula. And that's what I want to believe. Let's talk about Nicholas Holt.
Let's talk more about him. Yes. I think he did a good job as Renfield. He's very likable.
Yes.
And his comedy is so fucking golden in this movie. Like there are so many good comedic moments with him and that self-help group. All of them, all the people at the self-help group, there's too many to list them all.
Oh, definitely.
But they're all beautiful characters.
We can mention Mark, the one who leads it. It's played by Brandon Scott Jones. He is very funny and very much fits as this character.
So good.
Sarah, though, kept on calling him Ned, like the whole movie, and I thought that somebody named him Ned at one point. And then they called him Mark. I'm like, that's not his name. And she said, oh, I just think he's Ned Flanders. That's why.
That's fair. It's good.
Yeah, he's.
But no, I really do enjoy Nicholas Holt in this movie. They played off the narration pretty much similar as as Warm Bodies, where the narrative jokes, as opposed to what's playing out on the screen, are really well done. So a lot of good comedy there, and I do think that Nicholas Holt. I mean, he's been paired with Nicolas Cage before, as I mentioned.
Yeah, we'll watch that.
As I mentioned in another episode, that is
Nicolas Cage playlist.
Exactly, the Weatherman. Nicolas Cage plays the Weatherman, and Nick Holt played his son in that movie. Which I've seen that movie, but I would not have remembered that having been Nick Holt. So that's hilarious. So it's nice to see them return, especially now that Nick Holt is, a outstanding actor in his own right, and playing opposite Nick Cage. I think he did a damn good job because.
Like we said earlier,
their chemistry and everything was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. It all works. So, as an actor spotlight, I will say that this movie wins because I really love Nick Holt's performance in this. I loved it in Warm Bodies as well, but I think in this he's really fucking good.
It would be really hard, honestly, for me to say because I know that playing a mute and making a zombie convincing is actually much harder than it looks.
Right. Yeah, people think it's so easy, and it's like, no, there's more to it.
I mean, you have to feel and express more, and then at the same time, he's a zombie. So,
right.
So, I really give him up for both performances. I can't say which one's better. I can't even say which one I like.
You have
better.
to.
I have to? Shit. Well, then it will probably be Renfield.
There could be no gray area.
He does have some more experience by this time, and the comedy is really funny to me. Especially when he goes out and he buys stuff for his apartment. Like, it's the only montage in the movie that I recall. And he goes out and he buys all this shit for his apartment. It's all brightly colored because he's tired of Dracula and his drab bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was also a weird it just happened out of the blue. There's another character, right? That just appears. Am I thinking, is that the right movie where she lives with him at the apartment complex and turns out she's a spy for the mob or something?
I think you're thinking of something else. Yeah, I don't think he has a roommate.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't recall that.
Not a roommate, but she lives at the same
in the apartment complex.
Apartments as him. And he's coming home and just randomly goes into her apartment. I'm thinking of a different movie, I think.
Maybe.
It's all right. I'll cut it all.
Okay. So, I will. I don't think we gave ratings to this film yet. I really enjoyed it.
No, we did not.
It wasn't just you that told me that they were disappointed in this film, and I understand the reasons why you're disappointed in the film. But me not expecting so much from it going in, I really had a great time. I had a fantastic time, really. Both me and Sarah did. Is it a face and a half movie? I don't think so. It still just gets a full face. Maybe 100% a full face. And, I enjoyed it.
Well, that's good. I was disappointed. I thought it was funny, but at the same time, very fucking stupid. And there's so many weird, I don't know, there's a lot that's left to be desired. But the premise is great. The acting is great.
Yeah.
The gore is fun. Mm-hmm. I love the action scenes. But I don't know, I kind of walked away just being like, man, that was not as funny as I wanted it to be. Yeah. It's not as focused on Dracula and Renfield as I wanted it to be.
Yeah. There is another version of this movie that is better. but I still thought what we got was pretty great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's fair. And I'm going to give it 2.5 stars, though. Ben Schwartz almost makes me want to give it 3 stars just because I love Ben Schwartz. But I only give it 2.5. It was, I don't know, there's a lot of stupidity in the script. And I just, after a while, I just couldn't handle it. There's so many things that would happen. I'd just be like, fucking, why are we doing this? Like, this makes no sense.
I will say...
It's still fine. I still did enjoy it.
Right.
I will say that. Like, as much as I was disappointed, I still had fun.
Yeah, that's fair. But man, I'll tell you, I was cracking up when Ben Schwartz scooped up all the cocaine out of his back seat, started running from the cops. And then he like ripped one up and like threw it in the air and it went into the other cop's face. And he was like, "It's cocaine!"
I mean, again, I didn't even know Ben Schwartz was in this. So when I was sitting in the theater and I was with a couple of my friends, and he leans out of his car and he yells, he's like, "Don't you know who I am? I'm Teddy fucking Lobo." I'm like, "Is that Ben Schwartz?" And then they could do a close up on him, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's Ben Schwartz!" I was like, "Yes, this movie got so much better than I thought it was going to be because it's kind of meandering a bit, and then it's just it was good. I enjoy Ben Schwartz a lot, but it's only a 2.5 star film. I would say I liked Warm Bodies more, even though I thought that was also kind of forgettable. But
yeah, I think I liked Renfield just a little bit more, but I think they're both equally fine films that I can say, yeah, go watch them. And
yeah. I would say the same. I would say go watch it. They're both fun.
Yeah,
but yeah. That's the show. That's it.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah.
We did it.
One more week in the barrel.
Thanks for joining us. Woohoo! We did it. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leone, the stretchiest experiment on Earth. Safe travels and good night. Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of Fiction Works 19. Are you a fan of the show? Feel free to contact us at greenandfacelessfans@gmail.com or visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.